3 years ago, an alien race of robots invaded Earth and it only took them 11 days to win. Then a robot called Mediator made an announcement on TV, explaining the robots intended no harm and only wanted to study people, so they'd leave when they were done. Mediator said robots didn't lie and that there was only one rule: everyone had to stay inside. The robots put an implant on the neck of every human in the planet so they could detect whenever someone tried to escape and immediately captured them. A bunch of spacecrafts known as control cubes also started floating all around the globe. Currently in England, a man runs out of his home, saying this isn't really living. Ignoring the warnings of his son Connor, the man keeps moving until a drone appears and gives him 10 seconds to go back. The man refuses, so the drone shoots him to disintegrate him. Connor runs out to kneel on the death spot, and his crying gets the attention of neighbor Kate and her son Sean. They tell Connor to go inside at the same time the drone gives him a warning, but Connor doesn't move. When the kid is about to be shot, Smythe shows up and uses an authorization code to stop the drone. It turns out he's a collaborator, meaning he works with the robots to keep relations with humans. After the drone flies away, Connor is taken to Kate's home. This isn't the only time she's adopted children that were orphaned by war. She's also taking care of siblings Nathan and Alex. The kids don't like Smythe because he works with the robots, but he reminds them it's an important job that keeps them all fed. Before Smythe leaves, Sean asks about his missing because he's sure he's still alive, but Smythe swears he checked the records to no avail. Kate gets upset and Smythe uses to hug her. The next morning Connor runs to his old house to collect his things. A robot guard known as Sentry soon appears and gives him 5 minutes to go back. Connor picks up too much stuff and when he comes out he accidentally drops it to the ground. Kate and Sean yell at him, saying to only get the essentials, but Connor insists on picking most of it up. The Sentry is approaching as time runs out, so in the end Connor drops half of his things and enters the house right before he could get punished. Later the family watches another transmission from Mediator, who promises the same things as always. Alex says it's lying because it's been over 1,000 days and the robots haven't left yet. Meanwhile Sean has drawn a bunch of missing notes of his dad. He proceeds to put them inside tennis balls, which he then throws around town using an elastic. Afterward Sean continues to try his best to deal with the routine. He marks the days on the wall, brings tea to his mom when she's upset, and keeps himself fit through various methods like boxing, running up and down the stairs, and lifting heavy things. He also keeps on sending out missing notes in tennis balls. One afternoon, the kids are hanging out together in the attic while Nathan tries to fix his video game console. Sean looks out the window and sees Smythe visiting his mother again, which annoys him. The kids know Smythe is interested in marrying Kate after he lost his own wife and son, but they consider him a creep. Then Connor turns on a battery to test the console and Nathan gets such a strong electric shock that he's thrown across the room. The others rush to check on him and discover Nathan's implant has been turned off. Excited, they take turns with the battery until all their implants are off and celebrate with a little dance. In the evening, the kids leave the house and no robot comes from them, but they still sneak around in the shadows to avoid being seen. As they go out, Connor picks up a tennis ball. They also take turns carrying the battery. Eventually they make it to the railway museum and finds lots of candy in the shop, so they eat as much as they can handle. Connor finds some fireworks and Nathan gets a lighter. Afterward Connor gives Sean the ball and he finds his drawing inside, but someone added a note. It says that his father was captured after the big battle but in that people's files are kept at the school. Then the kids run to the school and easily getting inside. They leave Connor with the battery at the entrance to keep watch and go investigate, only to find a room with a strange machine. Suddenly they hear a noise so they hide and watch Martin walk by carrying some files. They follow him until they find the file office and wait for Martin to leave, then the trio starts looking through the files. Many people have a red cross over their picture and they realize that indicates they're dead, however Sean's dad doesn't have it so it means he's alive. They also discover Smythe killed his wife and son. Sean finds a region number on his dad's file and checks a map, learning he's at the local hotel. Suddenly their implants start flashing, meaning the effect is temporary and they need the battery again. While they run back, Connor notices the same thing and uses the battery, which sends him flying against a vending machine. Unfortunately the teens don't make it to Connor in time and a sentry arrives, quickly capturing Nathan and Alex. Sean manages to run away and is followed by a drone, but when sentries join the chase he's surrounded and captured as well. Smythe arrives to stop the robots from shooting and admits he lied about Sean's dad, explaining that if Kate were happy he wouldn't be able to romance her. The teens are taken to the machine room and Smythe asks them how they turned off the implants, but they refuse to talk. At that moment 2 other collaborators bring in Martin, revealing he's been sending messages from his home using a flashlight and Morse code. Martin calls Smythe a traitor as the men painfully replace his implant and connect him to the machine. Mediator also comes in as Martin screams in pain, explaining the machine does a deep scan which takes all the person's memories. This doesn't kill them, but it does leave them in a catatonic state that will eventually kill them of so-called natural causes. Then the collaborators replace Sean's implant and put him in the machine to start another scan. Sean starts mocking Smythe because his wife left him for another man, so a furious Smythe comes closer to shut him up. However, the machine activates and hits him, causing him to go down as he pulls at the wires. This makes the machine stop and release Sean, whose new implant shuts down. At the same time, Connor has been sneaking around and has seen all this, so he runs to the lab to put together a few things. Then he rushes back to the machine room and shoots the fireworks at the collaborators. While the men try to find cover, Sean frees Nathan and Alex and the group runs out of the room while the mediator watches. On their way out, Nathan enters the lab and turns on all the gas taps before dropping his lighter. The kids manage to run outside right before the building explodes. Minutes later, they're hiding in a bowling alley and they use the battery to turn off their implants again. While discussing what to do, Nathan and Sean get in a fight, but Alex quickly calms them down. Then they agree to find Sean's dad together. The following days, the group keeps on and stays hidden by moving in between buildings. When they finally make it to the hotel, they take the stairs and accidentally push some barrels, making noise. This gets the attention of a robot, so the group runs upstairs as fast as possible and hides behind a wall. The sentry scans the area and activates Sean's implant, making his head hurt and move along. Luckily, the robot leaves without finding them. Afterward, the kids hear some noises and follow them to a room in the hotel, where they're shocked to find a bunch of people drinking, partying, and watching a boxing match. Their implants are on, which means the aliens arrived while they were staying here and got stuck. Silence takes over the room when they see the kids only to then go after them, thinking they're spies. Suddenly Wayne shoots his gun in the air to calm everyone down and they notice the kids' implants are off, so they take them to see their leader Monique. Sean asks about his father and Monique agrees to share information in exchange for learning how to turn off the implants. The kids demonstrate by using the battery on a random guy and in return, a delighted Monique takes them to see a man on a wheelchair. He doesn't sound very sane, but he does provide some information and says he used to know Sean's dad. His implant was removed by someone called the Watchmaker, who is by the secret lake following the river. He also claims that the slaughter stones show the way. Then he loses track of his words and Monique explains she found him in the woods after a heat stroke. Afterward, the kids discuss how to proceed only to be interrupted by a drone declaring that curfew has been temporarily suspended and everyone should come out for an announcement. Smythe appears with other collaborators and to the kids' shock, Kate is with them. Sean runs out to mingle in the crowd and discovers Smythe is handing out wanted posters of him. After accusing Sean of terrorism, Smythe lets Kate talk, making it seem like he's doing this to help her. A man in the crowd recognizes Sean and is about to hand him in. However, Wayne catches the man first and threatens to kill anyone who dares to talk. Before leaving, Smythe announces Kate will be with him at the castle so any information should be sent there. Then the drones announce curfew is back in place. Sean reunites with his friends and they agree to rescue Kate. Wayne gives them some food and a radio, wishing them good luck. As the kids run, Monique gives them instructions through the radio so they can avoid all the robots' guards, which helps them leave town without being seen. Meanwhile at the castle, Smythe shows Kate a little cube that plays a hologram, explaining that the robots have promised the collaborators 100 acres of land. Supposedly after they leave, Earth won't be polluted or overpopulated anymore. Smythe wants Kate to live with him there, agreeing to bring Sean along. Kate hesitates and pushes him off when he gets handsy, but Smythe swears he'll make her change her mind. Back to the kids, they enter a new town and find a sentry, so they run as fast as they can. The sentry sees them anyway and begins chasing them, aiming its gun at them. However, when it sees Sean, it freezes. The group notices Sean's implant is synchronizing with the robots, a side effect of the failed scan. Sean can now control the robot and makes it scratch its groin for a laugh. However, when Sean loses concentration, the robot shoots at the ground. At the same time, a young collaborator brings Kate some food. Kate recognizes him from their school days and uses her old authority over him to manipulating him into giving her the keys. An alarm starts wailing as she leaves, but she hides on the stairs before they can see her. She comes across a room full of maps and learns the truth of what's happening. It turns out the alarm was activated by Sean, who has made the sentry follow him to make it look like he's been captured. When Smythe and his men try to grab him, Sean moves the sentry and threatens them, forcing them to drop their guns. The other kids come out and grab the guns, demanding to see Kate. Smythe tells a guard to go fetch her, only for Kate to suddenly come out on a horse. Sean calls after her and his distraction causes guard robots to shoot down his sentry. Smythe and his men run back inside while the kids try to hide, but Sean is stuck behind the sentry while the fire continues. Nathan and Alex try shooting back, but they don't do any damage. Then a guard robot lands in front of Sean and is close enough for him to gain control of it. As the fire stops, Sean realizes he can look through the robot's camera and makes it shoot its partners. At that moment Nathan sees Smythe trying to escape and goes after him, cornering him on the roof. Nathan tries to shoot him, however Smythe trips and falls on top of the trash bags before running away. Afterward Sean deactivates the guard robot while making it drop its battery. Moments later, Kate is riding on the beach while being chased by some vehicles that suddenly surround her. She falls off the horse and discovers that her chasers are actually the kids. After a warm reunion, they notice the drones flying by so they get back on their rides to escape. For the next several hours, the group continues to travel together and Sean starts seeing Alex with new eyes. Meanwhile, Mediator is getting a whole new army of sentries ready and tells Smythe to capture Sean alive so they can study his ability. It also reveals there are a bunch of scanners being brought to Earth to accelerate the robot's plan. If Smythe doesn't capture Sean, he'll be the first one to be scanned. Sometime later, Sean's group finally finds the stones, which are covered by the graffiti. Connor gets on top of a clean stone and realizes that by looking from certain angle, the graffiti aligns and shows the words "cross the river 3 times to safety." Kate stole a map from Smythe and they find the route they must follow, so they get going immediately because they can see the sentries coming in the distance. The group continues on foot not to be heard and crosses 3 different bridges. Suddenly they see a boy in the forest, who starts running away when he sees them. They chase after him while yelling they're on his side, but the kid is too fast and they lose him. However, the group comes across a weak tent made of old fabrics near a lake. When they look under it, they find a fighter aircraft. They admire it for a while until they notice people gathering nearby with weapons, ready to attack. Sean mentions the guy that sent them and asks about his father Danny, who appears in the crowd and rushes to reunite with his family. Meanwhile in the forest, a sentry finds the abandoned vehicles. Back to the group, Danny takes them to a settlement where people who escaped have been living. Danny reveals that Smythe told him his family was dead and confirms the fighter aircraft was his from the war against the robots. At that moment they see a drone fly by, so everyone rushes to hide. This happens often and the community is used to it. Afterward Danny takes them to see the watchmaker and the group gets their implants removed, although Sean decides to keep his at hand. In the meantime, Smythe has captured Wayne and tries interrogating him. However, Wayne refuses to talk and insults Smythe, who activates the deep scan. It's then revealed this is happening in the huge spaceship that has brought the scanners. At the settlement, Kate shares what she learned. The deep scan puts you in a coma that kills you in a few days. The robot's plan is to deep scan every single person on Earth to steal all their knowledge and creativity. This is why they've been on the planet so long. It takes a while to scan the whole human population. The kids want to fight using Sean's power, but Danny tells them it's a lost battle and it's better to survive hidden there. The next day Danny shows Nathan how to use the aircraft, although he isn't amused by Nathan's claim that he knows how thanks to video games. Suddenly a loud sound announces the arrival of the sentries, Mediator, and Smythe, who promises to spare people's lives if they hand over Sean. The crowd goes crazy and gets in a fight with Sean's family because they want to give him up, however they discover Sean is already gone. On a field, Sean puts on his implant and gets the attention of a drone. Back to the settlement, Kate tells Smythe that Sean isn't there and that she'd rather be unalive than living with him. A furious Smythe tells Mediator to remove Kate from the immunity list and a control cube appears in the area, releasing a giant drill. Smythe asks for Sean again and threatens to let the drill dig until the ground becomes nothing but lava. At that moment Sean appears riding the huge spaceship, which he's controlling with his power to make it fly toward the control cube. Mediator gets on a drone and joins Sean, telling him it'll give his family immunity if he joins the robots. Sean turns around and instantly synchronizes with Mediator, which gives him access to every single robot on Earth. So many connections make him dizzy and he slips, holding onto the ship as it starts to tilt. Mediator also slips and ends up falling, crashing against some rocks that break it in two. The sentries then open fire and Kate is ready to surrender. However, when the drones surround Sean, Danny and Nathan appear in the aircraft and shoot them all down. The sentries turn their attention on them, so Sean finishes guiding the spaceship toward the control cube, jumping out of the way before they collide. He controls a drone to make it pick him up and everyone watches the cube explode. This causes the sentries to leave. Smythe goes after them, trying to make him obey him. However, the sentries now see him as a normal citizen and immediately kill him. Afterward, Sean and the kids find the broken Mediator, who tells them robots will never give up and will return. Sean ignores it and connects to its system, which gives him access to every robot in the world. Sentries, guards, and drones are quickly deactivated while the control cubes are guided toward the sky, where they explode one by one to free the entire planet. This huge use of power makes Sean pass out, but Alex wakes him up with a kiss. Then the group happily watches the cubes exploding in the sky. That evening, the people throw a party to celebrate and put up a memorial for every fallen person. Sean can't help staring at the sky, wondering if the robots will return.